Human rights lawyer Femi Falana, SAN, has challenged the All Progressive Congress and People's Democratic Party to prove they are not terrorist organizations following a Canadian court ruling that classified both parties as such. He warned that dismissing the judgment as ignorant or mischievous failed to address the serious issues raised. Falana noted that violence, rigging, and intimidation during Nigerian elections mirrored the terrorism definition under Nigeria's Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022. He argued that the ruling could have global consequences, including visa denials and deportations for APC and PDP members if the judgment is recognized internationally. The activist urged the federal government to hire immigration lawyers to mitigate the fallout and pressed security agencies to strictly enforce electoral laws. He insisted that both parties must adopt legal measures and operate within constitutional limits to restore confidence in Nigeria's democracy. Chizi, what do you make of this story?
Well, for me, I will look at it from two dimensions. In the first instance, yes, of course, it's a Canadian court that did that, you know, and for me, I am not a product of this. I'm not a neo-colonialist. I don't like us to begin to bow to other countries' issues. I don't, except for the image, you know. That's why I wanted to look at it from the two dimensions. That's why I have always been a critic of Nigerians going to Chatham House to defend their manifestos. I hate that because they don't come here to do it. So why are we doing that? Why are we bothered about
what they think
of us and what they don't think of us? Yes, for the image, of course, he has said so. And all the country needed to do is to speak up and not. What are you going to defend there? To defend what? Did they call you to begin to rule when they rule? So one Nigerian court should stand up and say that Canadian governments are terrorists. Straight. That's what I would do. One Nigerian court should stand up and name them as such. You see, we must begin to respect that the fact that we are an independent country and that we can operate without those people. They have a way of throwing up something. This is not even like, for instance, if you are saying that this court was a judgment of the international court. You know, when I mean by international court, you know, we have signed something to the Canada is a country of itself. So for me, if I'm the president today, we'll raise up somebody will go to this thing and then name them as such. When people talk about visa and visa and visa and visa and visa, that's because we do not believe in this country. Must we all travel? Must we be traveling? As in what? Who is talking about that visa or something? Yes, we need. You see, the interdependence of any nation must first start from its independence. You must be independent enough to be interdependent. That means that it has to be on comparative advantage. There's something I'm bringing on board. There's something you're bringing on board. If not, you can forget it. I remember one time the Abacha government, you know, when which of the country, I think it was France or something. They told France that, look, what we'll do in this country is that all your economic interests here, we'll localize it. And then they stopped. Yes, I understand for the image of Nigeria that we need to stoutly stand up instead of just dismissing it and make a strong statement, even via a court, even via our own court, because they didn't go to the international court, even via our court, because you don't just stand up and begin to name a party, whether you are in APC or you are in PDP. When they say APC and APC, how do they distinguish between who is APC, who is ADC, and who is another person? It's just Nigerians. So all you need is stand up. I would have stood up and asked Supreme Court to do a judgment that says that's a lie and then give them their own judgment. For me, I don't give in to those their manipulations. So we should not be dancing towards one court. Who even know the court? It could just be one court, one high court in one state that has just named that. It's not even a Supreme Court, it's not an international court. But yet, for the image of Nigeria, I think that Nigerian government should write Canadian government to apologize. I mean, that's wrong.
To apologize?
Yes, of course.
Nigeria should write to Canadian government. To
apologize? Why would a court begin to name Nigeria such? Or you name Canada?
Is it that Nigeria should write to Canadian government to apologize, or Nigeria should write to Canadian government demanding an apology?
No. Not that Nigeria should apologize. Nigeria should demand an apology from the Canadian government. They should demand an apology from Nigeria.
Now let's look at some of the things that they said by the Federal Court of Canada. It said Canadian authorities argued that both APC and PDP were implicated in electoral violence, democratic subversion, and politically motivated killings. Court documents showed that the person now in question, however, was a PDP member from 1999 to 2007 before joining APC until 2017 when he moved to Canada. Intelligence reports cited by IAD linked the PDP to ballot stuffing, voter intimidation, and killings during the 2023 and 2024 elections, with party leadership allegedly benefiting from the violence. Now, they are saying that Justice Ngo, who ruled on this matter, said that under paragraph 34, subsection 1F of the IRPA, mere membership in an organization tied to terrorism or subversion is enough to trigger inadmissibility, even without evidence of personal involvement. Now, the guy in question, the man in question, Ehareba, this particular judgment has paved way for his deportation from Canada. So this has to do with the activities of electoral malpractice and politically motivated killings by both parties. Now the question would be, how did they arrive at this conclusion? When they say politically motivated killings, how did they arrive at the conclusion that this particular killing was politically motivated? Now, it's one thing to mention killings during election proper, right, inside the polling unit, as it were. But now, politically motivated killing could be done anywhere, could be done by anybody. So are there judgments that have been given with regards to this, and this judgment tagged it politically motivated killings? Like, how did Canada arrive at this particular conclusion? Nze? I'm interested to know what your take on this matter is.
First and foremost, I want to thank Mr. Femi Falana for bringing this matter back to the government, to their very face. And I think it should be properly written advice, because I see his word as an advice to Nigerian government, to the ruling class, to go and clear their face. And he even suggested to them how to do it. Just hire some immigration lawyers and all that to go and look at the case, because this has really placed a dent, irrespective of the court that gave the judgment. If it is not appealed and perhaps set aside, that judgment will stand. Because in as much as in Nigeria we have messed up our judicial system.
This is actually an appeal judgment too.
Yes, that is
the
in
judgment
Canada.
was appealed. No, there was a ruling first.
Okay.
And Ehareba appealed it.
There in Canada.
And the appeal, this judgment now is by the appeal court.
Yes.
It's by a higher court. But
you see where the court now gave their ruling, indicting the major political parties
yes.
in Nigeria. Well, the reason is because the man in question, a Nigerian, who is now seeking asylum in Canada, has once been member
of these two
political parties. So if he is now emanating from that political parties, the Canadian judicial spectacle is viewing him as a terrorist. Do you see to that? And this will go far to maim the citizens of this country who are abroad, who have affiliation with any of these political parties. Do you see the danger of it?
Even their children.
Even their children. Because in a country, in a society where rule of law is respected to the letter, you can't come and tell anybody over there that the way we do it here, that's how they will do it. No. The court has given this ruling. If Nigerian government under APC and Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not appeal this case, maybe they can sue Canadian courts to International Court of Justice and things like that, and see how they can clear the mess that this judgment has brought upon the face of Nigeria.
Do you know the issue now is this? Nigerian elections have always had international observers.
Yeah.
Amnesty International has always. I am yet to remember, remember of one election observed by Amnesty International that they gave Nigeria a pass back.
Okay.
Right.
So,
now, when all these international observers over the years of accumulated observation of Nigerian elections and electoral system, right? And don't forget that local observers are also being sponsored. Political NGOs are also being sponsored by international organizations who are interested in the electoral system and the electioneering process in Nigeria. And they give reports back to them. I worked for one of such political NGO, State Democracy Network. I have reports. Even the one I observed at Ubima, I have reports. In fact, one of my reports actually led to cancellation of a particular local election in a particular local government.
Okay.
These things actually work, right? And these reports are being translated to the international community from locally, from NGOs, political NGOs, who are sponsored by international communities because they are interested in the reports that they are going to give. Now, they are not the ones sending their persons. They are the ones saying, you are from this country. We believe what you say about this. So give us reports as a neutral observer,
okay,
right? Then you also have international observers who come in, just like Amnesty International, to observe. Now, when you look at reports from NGOs, political NGOs, reports from election observers, reports from international observers, it appears that, you know, over the years, it's getting worse. It's not getting better. And at the end of the day, it's dismissed with 2 sentences. 2 words, actually. No, 3 words. Go to court.
Okay.
Right. And they still observe the court process and see the subversion.
Yes.
That's why they mentioned,
subversion of democratic institutions.
So when you look at all these things, this is a long time coming. So can one say that the observation, yes, we are speaking about the image of Nigeria abroad as a country. Our image already is in tatters. The moment you have that green passport, your guess is as good as mine, how you're going to be treated, you know, internationally. But this is another slap, a big one. And how are they going to disprove these things?
Now, when you ask the question, how did they come to know all this? I was waiting for a time to address this.
Go ahead.
Because they have been involved from 1999. They have been involved, Amnesty International, maybe British government, American government, Canadian government, and things like that. And the people they sent bring them back reports. How do they know politically motivated killings? Okay, look at just like what happened in 2015. You see the number of people that died on the eve of the election. Look at what happened in 2019. You see the number of persons that died, and you forgot that observers are within all these areas, seeing all these things. Yes, our national media carriers might fail to broadcast all those things, but these people will return home with their pictures, with their written reports. And when they return to their countries, they present these things, and their countries will be looking at Nigerians from this other angle. We just look at 2023 general election. We know the involvement of some of the international communities, and they know what they played, and they know how we played along as well. And at the end, this court came up with this judgment. Now the question is, I'm a Nigerian. Should I, because I'm a Nigerian, even when I pride myself as advocate of the masses, and knowing what the masses are going through under this regime, you tell me because an outsider had come to say that my surrounding, my compound is not swept. An outsider had come to my house, maybe about 11 o'clock in the morning, and he's confessing that my compound is not swept because I need to defend my compound and defend my lazy children who didn't do their work, and also me who didn't carry out my assignment by instructing the children and making sure that they keep the compound clean. I will tell the outsider or visitor who came, no, you don't speak like that about my family or my compound. That is madness. So I will not, because I'm a Nigerian, say that what the Canadian court has said against Nigeria is wrong. No. Let the advice of Femi Falana be taken seriously. Not only that they go to appeal that, to vacate that judgment, they appeal the government, see if it can be vacated, then they should come back to Nigeria and make sure that the law enforcement agencies, electoral umpire that conduct the election, and the politicians who run for election should adhere strictly to the, I think, Electoral Act. They should adhere strictly. If we make law, let us keep to that law. And when anybody faults the law, irrespective of how highly placed, let the person face the dance. And not when it concerns me. The police, army, DSS, you know, all put together, will launch attack to my house. Hey, bring in, we want to kill him, But when it concerns another who is more highly placed than me, they will dismiss it with, in fact, they will say, we are legend. We are legend. But my own will not be alleged. So I think that advice should be heeded. And I plead with the media to subtract this aspect of Femi Falana's advice and blow it to the air. Let Nigerian government, both the sitting and the incoming, try as much as possible to go by the rules that is provided in the Electoral Act. If anybody participates in electoral violence, let the long arm of the law catch that person and discipline the person. If INEC declares you winner when your activities during campaign and the electioneering period has some questions, you should be quizzed. No law in Nigeria has said that a winner of an election who has not been sworn in has immunity. Let the person be quizzed, and anybody who is found to either be working for the politicians by carrying out election violence, by stealing ballot boxes or election materials, let the law hold that person accountable. Let us begin to put this society of ours to play so that the kind of smear that we carry in the among the Committee of Nations can be cleared. And I'm also advising or suggesting for the Committee of Nations to please, when you have the way you treated this young man whom Canadian government or Canadian court denied asylum, treat our president who has just left Nigeria like that. So if the Mr. President is the head of APC, and the APC is a terrorist organization according to the law, the Canadian court, it means that our president is the head of the terrorists. So let them handle him from that angle. Let the Senate president, let all the election office, political office holders be held accountable. That is my stand, irrespective of how highly placed you are. Because this country is Nigeria, and Nigeria we are. And all of us must put hands together to better this society for ourselves.
They're saying that the Nigerian president should be treated as a terrorist.
If actually they did not vacate this, he is the head of APC.
You're calling him the head of terrorists.
No, I'm not calling him. I'm saying that by the judgment I'm not calling him the head of terrorists.
But then advocating for the president to be treated as a terrorist.
I said if they don't heed to the advice of Falana by vacating this, because this thing now will hinder me from flying abroad, isn't it?
No,
then why will it not affect my president?
Not exactly. For those who will go to Canada to seek asylum. Now, it said that the decision, this particular judgment has made this man, however, inadmissible under Canada's Immigration and Refugee Protection Act.
What if American government, maybe United States of America government adopts this ruling? What if British government, government of Britain adopt this ruling? What if the government of France adopt this ruling? What will happen to Nigerians?
All right, let me hear what Chizi has to say to this. Chizi, go ahead.
You know, I love the way we are sounding. This is not whether I'm patriotic or not patriotic. He's mentioned one scenario. He created a scenario that imagine that your house is dirty and your children has been lazy, and then an external says, "Oh no, that house is dirty and lazy." That should you now begin to protect your home because they have said so, or instead of saying the truth, and truly that's what's happening. The only thing I want to add to that is that the same person who is saying my house is lazy and my house is dirty and all of that, he's still coming to eat food in my house. He should stop eating the food. That's the first thing he should tell me.
Because the food allegedly is contaminated.
It's contaminated. The man who you said that is their terrorist organization, of course, the APC and all of that, that's what you said. I am saying that don't come and do business with the man. What I would have said is, what I would have loved is, Canadian government said from today, all Canadian business interests in Nigeria is withdrawn. They will not withdraw that. The US will not withdraw that. What they will need to withdraw is that which they will protect our citizens. Let me tell you something. You see, when you talked about the gamut of all of the observers and all of that, don't forget that there is law that protects our sovereignty. They don't need to dictate. Nigeria can deny observation from international community.
That's right.
Nigeria can deny them that.
That's right.
And nobody will say it's Finn. It is our own. No wonder when I started here, I said, I can never subscribe to somebody go to Chatham House to debate. I said, what? Why? When we have media houses, you find out that those who even go to Chatham House will not come to our own media listing here. Because of that mentality. Now look at how we're arguing. Because a Canadian court ruled on something. I am saying that Nigerian court should stand up and rule against Canada. What is that? Why are we apologetic? Is they said, what if US adopts that? What if these people adopt that? Let France adopt and leave Nigeria alone. I will tell you today that if all of these people adopt it and leave Nigeria alone economically, I will tell you that Boko Haram will no longer be there. I will tell you that the military in Niger Delta will not be there. They should remove their economic hand there and let us die if we want to die. After all, China closed the economy one time. My problem is, don't come and tell me that my house is dirty, and I know that. Start by telling me, Chizi, I will no longer eat food from your house because your house is dirty. Don't tell me my house is dirty and you're coming to eat food from the house. Remember that Hansa Mustafa did address certain things, especially as had to do with the Boko Haram. We all looked at it, that whereas even our military is finding it difficult to get into those places, yet NGOs from Assad are landing there on a daily basis. They stay there from China, from France, from all of these people. They stay there daily. They are interested in what is happening. Now, if you feel that it's not about just volatility, they talk about APC and PDP, meaning they're from Obasanjo till today. That's what they're talking about. Now, if you looked at all of that, and you feel, so why did you have to recognize them, you as a person? Why? Why not say, we withdraw our embassy, we withdraw this, we withdraw all of that because this election is rigged?
Well, Chizi, on the other hand, looking at it from another perspective, don't you think this is a wake-up call for Nigeria and our electoral process? Don't you think it's a wake-up call to rejig our electioneering system, to strengthen the institution and to ensure that people's votes count? And I mean, what is this founded on nothing?
No, it is founded absolutely on nothing. I want to say
You're saying the judgment is founded on nothing.
On nothing.
So there is no electoral malpractice.
On just right.
There is no electoral violence.
Let me no, I didn't say so because
So it's founded on something.
Because I also know that there are electoral violence in Canada and US. I know that there are. So it's not peculiar to Nigeria. I know that people are taking gun in UK and killing somebody anyhow. I know those things are not just here. But what I'm saying is that let us, for instance, I don't have issues when we initiate, quote unquote, a positive revolution on certain things and to say no to certain things. We can do that ourselves. But all I don't want to do is that because one international community is going to deny us of visa. That's the angle I do not want to
I understand. You're talking about the sovereignty of Nigeria as a nation and interference by foreign countries.
Yes, that we will stand up. Look at what we are talking about, APC, ADC, and all of that. Look at what they are doing. After all, this APC that we're talking about, us who are APC. Remember there was a time we said that Jonathan was everything evil. And we came, and we have repeated it again. So ADC is still saying this thing because they were the ones who were there. So I am saying that we. That's why I said I would have entered, I'm an APC person, look at my face. I would have entered a coalition if I found new face.
All right.
So I want us to stand up on our own as a person and do something. I am doing something as a person. I have an NGO that goes, I want us to stand up and let us come together. See, let me tell you one thing about rigging. It is impossible, or nearly impossible. Let me speak like a human. It is nearly impossible to rig in where you're not popular. Nearly impossible. And I can tell you that. It is nearly impossible. No wonder. Do you see that in Lagos, where Tinubu came from? doesn't matter what happened, Obi still won. People don't understand that. That's why you don't stay at home and then wait for people to just do something. It is nearly impossible when you have the people, because the will of the people is so massive. When you begin to say, oh, Obi won, or the other person won, and the other person won, I said, you don't have statistics. You don't know what it means. That's why we keep talking about structure. It's if you mobilize the whole of your energy, and you don't have people to supervise that energy, or to manage that energy, anybody can do anything.
All right.
At that point. So when we stand up, we mobilize, and we do something. We are in 2027, no. River State is for taking. But you know what has happened? Everybody in River State is either you are going to use a weekend, or you have Hamish.
All right.
No thought force. Nobody's coming forward. Nobody wants to bring their money. Then tomorrow you say, they did this, they did the other one. So it's either Amechi, and Amechi will sit down in his table and say, this is the governorship candidate. Wike will still do the same.
All right.
Very well.
But what if I come from this angle? We must protect our sovereignty. We must protect ourselves. But what is sovereignty when there is no life? Is it not the living that constitutes sovereignty? If we see that the truth that's supposed to resonate in our community is not resonating, and an external person come to our community to tell us that truth, will we not applaud that person? Will we, because of pride of sovereignty, say that what the Canadian court has come to say is not true? Let me say this to us. It is possible that Canadian government, in fact, these other foreign nations, can survive without us as much as we can survive without them. In fact, they can survive without us much more than we can survive without them. No. Let me come up. If any of their person is sick, how many times do we see them in UPTH? How many times do we see them in National Hospital or in specialist hospitals around Nigeria? Hardly you see a white-haired man, except an expatriate working here. And oftentimes the expatriates are sent abroad to their places. So you see that when it comes to health care, they don't need us.
But they need us in other things.
I am coming now. I'm coming.
Are you aware?
I'm coming to touch those areas.
Their system are being held
by
the blacks, particularly Nigerians.
I know. Let me come.
Our resources make them rich.
Nigerians that are supporting them are Nigerians that run away from our country.
Do you know how much these people, China, for example, is making from mining in the country?
Yes, but illegally.
And illegally. The government is not unaware of it. They need us. Now, do you know the workforce abroad? The workforce abroad is mainly from African countries.
Yes.
Majorly Nigeria.
Yes.
The best brains abroad
are
Nigerians. So what are we talking about?
Now, see, those people you are talking
the
about.
Oil.
Let me just, before you go further.
Go ahead.
If these best brains abroad, who are making the economy to thrive, is written to and signed by the President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, irrespective of who, please come back to our country.
I'm not done.
How many of them will come? That's the question.
Hold on.
How many of them will
why
come?
would they come back when the quality of life abroad is better? Hold on. Are you aware that Nigeria is one of the highest exporters of products in China?
Yes.
Like, do you know what Nigerians pump into China on a daily? Pump into China on a daily on export alone. Like, importing for them is export, for us is import. So exporting their goods and importing it into Nigeria. Do you know how much? So when you say they can exist, one would say to a large extent that might not be exactly true, because China has commercialized its nation and they are more into production, and they need people because they produce more that they can consume. So they need people, particularly Africans, because I mean we are dependent. Nigerian economy is very dependent on importation, and then also We rarely produce anything.
Lorenzo, you are raising my curiosity the more.
I'm trying to excavate your sentence.
Let me respond to it. Let me respond to it.
We need them more.
Do you know that? Let me just use China now as a case study, as you just described. Do you know that in the 80s to 90s, that Chinese products, even in the after 2000, most of Chinese products were considered inferior. They were using us to test run.
That's right.
And instead of us to develop ourselves like Japan did, after the Second World War, that Japan got devastated. They went back to Japan does not have the most of the raw materials we have here, natural resources as we have, but they only have their brains. Now, the Second World War almost collapsed Japan to nothing. But they went back and locked up their doors. They closed their borders against every other nation. They started working on themselves until they came up that, as at the time I came to see, you discover that Japanese products, automobile, were the best in the whole world. To the extent that at a point, American government will request for them to produce for them.
All right.
Now, we come to China, and China now pouring their products into Nigeria. Is it to our advantage completely? Now, if I want to protect my nation, I can tell them, I don't need your products anymore. Let me begin to produce for myself. Look at what Mr. Peter Mbada had done in Enugu State. That these ties that the people bring all the way from abroad, he has just built a factory and brought those people to train Nigerians.
All right.
And that factory is now producing several things that is going on there. Is this not what federal government is supposed to be doing? Now, they won't do all those things. Now, most of our people that left Nigeria to abroad, that is making abroad to thrive, those countries to thrive, are supposed to be the people that if the system had been working in this place, they will be doing better for us.
All right.
So, in fact, I stand with Femi Falana and I stand with Canadian court that Nigerian political parties, these two major political parties, are terrorist organizations.
All right,
let me just clean up something, so that you don't think that I'm not in support of a revolution that will bring in positive this thing here in Nigeria. I am. Neither am I trying to protect our nation. But I'm going to tell you that there's something about international politics. They could name something that will weaken your institution and strengthen your trust deficit. And as soon as they strengthen that trust deficit on your leadership, they weaken you more to be dependent on them. That's what they're doing. Exactly. That's international politics. So what they want to do that as soon as you hear a Canadian court has given this thing, and everybody's talking about it, and it looks like, oh, we are weak.
Nigerian court is it's inferior in comparison.
We can't do this, we can't do that. What is now happening to us is that you begin to see that the whole of that flight. If you close in, that's why I said, you said if they withdraw their economy, they may survive more than us. I don't have issues with that. China closed their economy. I'm saying they should withdraw from coming to eat from us. As soon as they withdraw from coming to eat from us, our plantain dodo will become better food for us. We won't be looking for their corn flour. That's all I'm saying. So they should help us if they love us. If they love us, they should help us and say, this government, because you rigged it or because he did this, we're no longer going to do business with you. You know what will happen? Those our hospitals will begin to come up by force. Nobody should come over to that place. We'll begin to do things, but they will not, because they will
accept the investment. Accept the money. But label us bad.
That's what I'm saying.
Because are we not supposed to now stand up on ourselves?
The same politicians allegedly launder their funds abroad.
Abacha's
loot is still being repatriated back into Nigeria.
And
they repatriate it at will, but that loot must have, helped them to develop their country. So how is it okay how is it okay to accept loot from this person
I created a scenario here. Yes. I created a scenario. Look at that scenario. That I am in the house as a father who had children. And at my age, I suppose not to sweep my compound again. It is the duty of my children to do so. But here I am, unable to make my children sweep the compound until another person who comes to my house, perhaps to eat, discovers that and airs it out. And how we now, because of pride.
After airing, the person sit down and eat.
No, hold on, let me come. So what I expect is that now that that person has said it, I should stand up as a father, pick up cane, flog the children, force them to keep the place clean, perhaps wash the place, and then let the
serve
leadership
the person food.
and still serve him food, yes, if need be. And if I don't want to serve him, is it not me that will tell him that there's food in the house?
All right.
So I expect Nigerian leadership to take this, just as Chizi has said, increase our trust deficit and weaken our institution. Let our leaders take it from this angle and consolidate on strengthening our institution and reducing our trust deficit to these foreigners, and see that they build a society where everybody can be proud of. That when those foreign nations speak ills of Nigeria, we ban them.
All right, very well.
And not lose anything.
All right, thank you so much, Nze. Thank you for your
very
passion
much.
this morning. It's a pleasure having you, and thank you so much, Nze.